Hey, Jeff here. All right, so let's do something different today. So I know you all have heard this. Everybody talks about this, and at some point I wanted to dismiss it and never believe it. But rumor has it, and rumors have been proven true, that sealed albums from long ago can get messed up and warped. So I've opened a lot of albums from old days, you know, when you get them from the 80s and stuff, and they're perfectly fine. So I've always been kind of like skeptical of that, you know, are they really getting warped? Really? Well, I've had some recently that were, and I think I've even shown on previous videos one or two, but maybe at least one. So what I wanted to do today is I went through my collection and found, I don't know, 5 or 6 records that I still have that are sealed, and they're from the 80s. And I thought, you know, so you got that fine line between I'm a collector, I'm a music lover, a collector, I'm a music lover. Do I buy things that are still sealed with the intent of saving them so that one day I might sell them, or do I want to rip into them and open them? Everybody's got different thoughts on this. And I've talked about, you know, in the past, hey, I got this and it's still sealed and I may open it, maybe I won't. And you get the comments. People are like, you know, music's supposed to be enjoyed. Tear into it and listen to it. And I agree. That's really the thought. But it's sometimes so hard to get out of that collector mindset and get into the music lover mindset and say, well, here's a sealed album that might be worth something. So I look at these, and some of these I've left sealed because maybe I bought them in a lot or, you know, someplace inexpensive, but I already have it on CD, so I don't really need it. I've got it digitally. Kind of defeats the purpose. Then that's more of a collector mindset, because now I'm just buying the vinyl just to collect it. I'm not buying it to enjoy it, the warmth and the sound and the difference and the, you know, the whole experience. So I'm trying to break free of that strict collector mindset. So I thought, I've only got a few, and you know, and I look them up and they're not worth, it's not like they're growing in worth. So chances could be that they're messing themselves up by being sealed, because of the ones I found recently that have been messed up. So what I want to do today is we are praying that there is no warped problems with these. That's the name. And we're going to open these up and check them out. Dumb on the turntable real quick, see if we can see anything. Now the thing I will show you. So these are the 2 in the past couple of months, and I think at least one of these I mentioned in one of the previous videos that I have. These are older ones that I opened and that have indeed been found to be warped. Now, of course, I don't know, are they warped because they're in the shrink wrap, which is very much a possibility, or are they warped because at some point that box of records somewhere down the line got sat too close to a heat source? It's really hard. It's hard to tell. So I'm going to say that it is, having them sealed is not helping. So because I see the warps that I'm finding are being around the edges, and it's just a minor warp. I would think the shrink wrap warp would kind of cause the whole record to be a little more, you know, warped out a little bit, not just like the edges. The edges, to me, when I see that, or when I see that bow effect or the ripple effect, tends to tell me, in my novice opinion, that it probably got hot somewhere, and so the sides started to warp. But I don't know, maybe the shrink wrap does do it. Again, I haven't experienced it so much that I can definitely say it's this or that. All I know is I've got some shrink wrapped albums that I think I should probably go ahead and rip into. So we're going to do that today. Now this is one of the first ones. I bought this online, and get away from the glare. I'm doing this in daylight, so the windows are all open now. Wild Dogs, I bought this online a couple months ago, earlier this year I think. And it was still sealed. It still is. I got it in a shrink wrap. I probably should take it out, but you know, it's got the hype sticker on it, so I left it on there. Pulled it out, threw it on the turntable, and I will show you now what I experienced. Let's go to the turntable. Well, I'm going to show you 2 of them actually. This was the other. This was Shout. This is a Christian band. Shout, Ken Tamplin. There's some other distributors out there that have found, or you know, had a whole bunch of boxes of bands like Shout and Idle Cure and some of the other ones I'm going to show and stuff, and I bought a bunch of them, and most of them I opened because I have them all on CD, but there's a couple in here we're going to open today too. But this one I opened, and it had the same warped problem too. So let's go to the turntable and take a look at Wild Dogs and Shout, and let's see what I found. So this is the Wild Dogs, and I think if you can see the little warp in here, you'll see what happens when I put the sensitive needle on here. So as you can see, I do about the first minute of the song, it is bouncing all over the place. Now it settles down after about a minute because the warp is really only on the very edge. So let's take a look now at the Shout album. Now, as we can see with the Shout album, it's a bigger warp than just a little ripple. It's a bigger bump there. And I think that's... not quite as bad because the ripple doesn't, on this one, doesn't cause it to jerk around as much, but it does cause it to skip occasionally. And as we can see right there, and that might be fixable. But anyway, let's go back and take a look at some of the other ones. So let's get into these because I don't want to find out that these, get my knife out, I don't want to find out that these have had that kind of damage. So let us check them out. I got my little knife. This is my little box opener. All right, this is probably going to be the toughest one to open because this one, to me, feels like it should be worth something. This is the very first RATT EP. This is the original Time Coast release with the black and white picture before they got glare, before they got signed. So to me, I had this back in the day. To me, this is sentimentally worth a lot. But I watch it online, and it's, I mean, yeah, maybe somebody would pay 20 bucks, but it's not like this is one of those albums I'm going to be able to sell for 50. So I'm like, I should rip into it and open it. I don't have it. I don't have the other version. I don't want it to get warped. And anyway, like I mentioned in the last video, I bought this probably 20 years ago or so. I went to a record store when I was still living down in Mississippi. There was a record store. There was a video, you know, a multimedia type store, and they had a lot of vinyl. And at the time, I was not buying vinyl. Vinyl was that. It was out of sorts by that. You know, I had tons of CDs still, but I saw this sitting in the corner. It was still sealed. You know, it was like $10. I thought, I loved that album back in the day. I should buy that, and so I went ahead and grabbed it. I also grabbed Tokyo Blade's first album. It wasn't sealed, but it was a good price, and I still have that to this day because for some reason that album stood out to me as being, you know, just I wanted to have it. It was really cool, and so that's one of the ones I've got. It was their first American release. But anyway, so anyway, let's check it out. I can already see where the corner is a little warped because of the plastic, but it doesn't feel like it's on the vinyl, so. Oh, there it is. I've ruined it now. There goes my $20. It's open. Original gray label. So at first sight, it looks pretty good. Let's go throw it on the turntable and check it out. All right, I'm liking that. I did not see a movement at all. I'm not even going to throw the needle on that. That is flat. Flat, baby. Yes! One down. Let's check another one out. Okay, so the RATT one was probably my main concern because that to me just, you know, had so much sentimental value. I was just hoping I didn't ruin it by leaving it in the shrink all these years too. Up next, another one, 1984's 84 Saint. Warriors of the Sun. Lights are killing me. Warriors of the Sun, their first EP. Anyway, let's tear into it. This is one of the early Christian metal releases. They came out around the time Striper came out, before Striper became big. They were in existence, and these guys were a little bit on the heavier side, so have always been a favorite of mine. On a side note, as a web designer I am on the side, for quite a few years I ran the website for Josh Kramer, the singer. It's only been recently that he decided to pull it down for not a lot of activity. All right, so nice silver label there. I'm not seeing anything on it, but let's take it to the turntable and check it out. All right, I'm happy. Another flat one. All right, so that's good. I'm glad that was good. Those are two probably that were probably the most important to me because they were both very nostalgic early releases, and I'm just glad both those are good. All right, next up, Milan Lefebvre. This one I showed. I recently bought this, like it was in June or so. So this is was fairly new to me. I wasn't sure if I looked at it. You know, it's maybe $10 to somebody, but you know what? When I bought this, I had one or two other Milan Lefebvre albums, and again, he's a Christian artist, kind of in the pop vein. Since then, I've picked up a couple more, so now I guess I'm collecting Milan because I've got, I think, all but 3 of his Christian Milan and Broken Heart. So I'm going to keep it. So let's tear into it. This is 1988. Nothing majorly visible. Let's take it to the turntable. Yes! Thankfully, another flat one. Alright, let's go. Next up we got 411. Now this is one that I just bought the other day. I showed in a video maybe a week or two ago. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Just a little known Christian band. They had 2 albums out. This is their first. It appears to be just pretty much self-released. There's no label or anything on it. I had their second album back in the day. Very pop, but it was very interesting. I really liked it back in the day. So this one I don't think I've ever heard. Again, I was like, maybe it's worth something because it's an indie label, but I don't think so. Seems like it's not worth anything. The band never really went on to do anything. So to me, it's worth checking out because I've never heard it, and I have their second digitally. I want to find that one, Morning into Dancing. But anyway, let's tear it up. This was 80. I don't even know if it had a date on it. But I'm pretty sure it's like 88 or so. Blue Collar Records. See, it doesn't say that on the outside anywhere. But on Discogs, I kept seeing Blue Collar Records, and I'm thinking, well, maybe that's what I've got. There was 2 different versions, and I'm thinking that must be the one I got. Visually, it looks pretty flat. But let's take it to the turntable and see. Alright, another one that standed the test of time, another flat one, and back. Okay, up next is another one that came from along the same lines as the Shout one that I had, so it's another 80s, this one's actually older, 1980. This is Jerusalem, another Christian rock band. I love these guys, would love to get all their vinyl on at one time. I would like to get all their vinyl one time. Anyway, so I got a couple, and I got all their CDs of course, so let's tear into it and see what we got. This is their second album. Yeah, volume 2. Jerusalem is a band from Sweden, and they release their albums in Swedish, and then they have some that are in English. So there are versions out there of this that are sung in Swedish. Liking the visual inspection so far, but turntable tells the truth. Let's go. I do not see enough of anything. I see a slight little... I don't think it's going to be a problem. I see just a slight little hiccup. See that little bounce? Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. No skips in the first few seconds. That's good. All right, back for more. All right, coming up next, we're going to do both these at the same time. We got 2 Joe English albums with no glare. Now, if you don't know who Joe English is, Joe English was the drummer for Paul McCartney and the Wings in the early days. And then shortly after that, he decided to start doing Christian music, which is what these are. So these are albums from the early days, 1983, 82, and 83. So Let's check them out. Still sealed. That one has me a little concerned, just because the album in my hand kind of looks a little off. Held accountable. Let's see what this one is. That one looks pretty good, though maybe questionable. Alright. To the turntable we go. Alright, so this is the first one that I had some concerns with. I can already see that. I don't know if you can see that as well, but it's got some give in it, which means it's not. I need to get one of those clamps that would hold that down, and I think that would solve it. But let's see. All right, it's spinning pretty good. I can definitely see there's right here. It rises up right there, and it should go down right there. Let's see what happens if I flip it over, because that would show it, because then it's going to stick up. That might be harder to compensate for, maybe not. Ah, see that? Whoop. Whoop. I have a feeling that's going to be a problem. Oh, maybe not. Alright, so it is jumping, but because it's not a ripple like some of them, I guess the needle doesn't have as hard of a time. As you can see, that's not making contact. And I don't think one of those clamps here is going to help that outer edge. It would definitely help it on the other side. But okay, let's check the other one out. This one wasn't looking too bad, so. Yeah, that one's running sweet. Nice and smooth. All right, good sign. All right, so great. Now, it seems that out of all of those, and I think that may be all of the vinyl that I still had sealed. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to go back and look. I'm pretty sure that I have now broken free of my collector mentality when it comes to those vinyl and have opened them, and now I'm going to listen to them. Even though I have most of them digitally, I'm going to listen to them. And some of them did have a little bit of a problem, and that last Joe English one, that might be definitely a shrink wrap issue, but it didn't skip. I'm happy about that. And I'm thinking for that one side, I probably should get one of those clamps. I've had one of those clamps on my Amazon wish list for months and months and months, but haven't pulled the trigger. But I think I'm pretty good for all of these releases. I'm so happy with the Saint and the RATT, because those were really near and dear to my heart, and I'm glad that they are good. So I am going to put those on and play them. I thank you for watching. This has been kind of a fun experiment, and now I'm past that point where I'm not holding on to sealed records. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Rock on. Have a great day.